living longer and longer. Life expectancy is increasing worldwide, as you can see on this slide. And it has been stated that 80 is the new 60. People who are today 80 years old are like the persons who were 60 years earlier. They are healthier, the functional level is better, and they are also more active. At the same time, we know that brain is often the weakest link when we are getting older. There are many factors affecting the brain, and we also know that brain health, our cognition, memory, is very important for independent living and also for the success of our societies in the future. So the question is, can we do something for the situation? We know that dementia is increasing very rapidly when we are getting older. And we can really talk about dementia epidemic. Today we have around 50 million persons who have dementia globally, and it has been estimated that this number is around 150 million 2050. So it's really rapid increase. And if we are looking at the attitudes towards dementia, we have a nice report here, World Alzheimer Report. It really indicates that there is still a lot of stigma related to dementia. Many people, 2 in 3, also think that dementia is part of normal aging. And around 62% of healthcare professionals believe this as well. It's thought that dementia is part of normal aging, and this of course affects why early detection is still challenging in many countries. Further, 1 in 4 people think that there is nothing we can do to prevent cognitive impairment and dementia. And the question really here is now, is this true? Luckily, we know now that there are many modifiable risk and protective factors for dementia and Alzheimer's disease. The latest reports are indicating that at least 40% of all dementias are linked to modifiable vascular risk factors, lifestyle and environmental risk factors. So there is a clear prevention potential. Here you can see the 12 modifiable risk factors listed in this Lancet Commission paper. There are factors like diabetes, high blood pressure, physical inactivity, smoking, but also factors like hearing loss and social isolation. Even air pollution is one of the new risk factors. If we are talking about protective factors, here we have healthy, balanced diet, education, physical, mental and social activities. And there are also even newer risk factors which we are studying at the moment. It's not only depression, but already feelings of loneliness and hopelessness have been linked with an increased risk of memory problems and dementia. And we know that especially during the pandemic, for older people especially, these feelings have been increasing. Same for stress and sleeping disturbances. We are living in a very hectic society, and stress has been linked with the increased risk of dementia as well as sleeping disturbances. Actually, during the sleep, many things are happening in the brain, and it's kind of clearing many toxins from the brain when we are sleeping. So activity is good, but brain and brain health, sleep and rest is also important. Impaired oral health has also been linked with the risk of dementia, and that is also linked to what we are eating, the nutrition. And even infections. Of course, the COVID pandemic has been a challenge, and there have been some studies indicating that even the COVID infection can increase risk of cognitive impairment. So I think this is a very interesting list because, as I say, it's not only high age and genes, but there is so much we may be able to do with lifestyle interventions and affecting these risk factors. So the question is, how can we use this knowledge in our trials and in the implementation so that it can really come to the patient and for the society to the benefit. Given that there are so many different risk factors, I believe it's not enough to only focus on one of these risk factors, but we need to target several risk factors and mechanisms at the same time. I call this multi-domain interventions. I also think that one size does not fit all. We all are different. We have our different genetic factors and risk factors. So in the future, we still need to tailor the interventions, taking into account individual risk profiles. Timing is also important. Finding the optimal time windows, because the importance of the risk factors may vary if we are younger, if we are at midlife, and when we are older. It has been difficult to really find also these at-risk persons, where to start. We know that this process in the brain leading to Alzheimer's dementia may start 20 or 30 years before we can do the diagnosis. So it's a long process. And I normally say that it's never too early to start to prevent dementia because of this long process. If we work at the memory clinic, we can diagnose and we can find the persons who have ongoing Alzheimer's disease with the novel biomarkers. We can use brain imaging, CSF, and more even blood-based biomarkers. If we are more focusing on healthy persons in the general population, we may use different kind of risk factors, and we have been actually developing quite simple risk scores, and we can even use here digital tools to really find these persons who could get benefit, extra benefit for these interventions. It has been more challenging to really show these effects of the lifestyle interventions in the randomized controlled trials, which are important in the evidence-based medicine. I have been leading the FINGER trial, which was the first randomized trial showing that it is possible to prevent cognitive impairment with the multi-domain intervention having all these 5 different components listed here. Here we targeted persons who had increased risk of dementia because they had some of these risk factors. They could have high blood pressure or low physical activity as an example. Age range was between 60 to 77 years, and we had these interventions for 2 years. And we are now working with the extended follow-up. We are ready with the 5 and 7-year follow-ups, and now we are soon ready with the 11-year follow-up, and we will surely learn a lot what is the effect, more the long-term effect of this intervention. And this is the figure model. It's like 1 hand and 5 fingers. We have the healthy balanced diet, regular exercise, cognitive training, using the brain, social activities, and taking care of all vascular and metabolic risk factors like blood pressure, cholesterol, obesity, and diabetes. Activate all 5 fingers every day. That's the best recipe for good brain. And indeed, the feedback from the finger participants was very positive. Especially they liked the social component, meeting other people, sharing experiences, and getting the individualized support, how to change the lifestyle. So the feedback has been very positive. How about the results? We were very happy to see that the finger intervention had clear effects on cognition. The primary outcome of the trial was the global cognition, different cognitive domains, and here we could see 25% more improvement in this finger intervention group compared to the regular health advice group. We saw the same pattern for all cognitive subdomains. Executive function, that means how we are, for example, planning our activities, 83% more improvement. Processing speed, how quickly we can do different things. 150% more improvement. And even memory, especially the more complex memory, 40% more improvement. So this is not only reducing the risk of cognitive impairment, it's really optimizing brain health, because all these cognitive domains are important for independent living for all of us. We could also see that the control group, had 30% increased risk of cognitive decline. So we have evidence for all these different domains in the finger study. And given how difficult it has been to find any effective interventions for cognition and especially Alzheimer's disease, this has been really cited as a rare success in our attempts to optimize the brain health. On top of that, on top of the cognitive benefits, we had many other clear benefits. As an example, there were 20% lower risk of cardiovascular events, for example, stroke and heart myocardial infarctions, heart problems. 30% lower risk for functional decline, meaning that these persons were able to function better in everyday activities. Quite strikingly, 60% lower risk for chronic diseases, especially multimorbidity, developing 3 or more other type of chronic conditions, which is quite common for older people. And importantly, better health-related quality of life. Quality of life is very important for our older people. And our new findings, just recently published, also indicate clear health economic benefits, meaning that if we could run this kind of intervention in the society, that would also give clear savings for the society. So there are benefits for the brain health, total health, on individual level and on societal level. We also get the questions, how about if I have a genetic risk, if I have some of the risk genes for dementia? The most common one is ApoE4. Quite interestingly, we have been able to show that these persons with the genetic risk got clear benefit of this multi-domain intervention. So it's good news, because in these cases, this type of intervention we can at least try to postpone the onset of cognitive impairment in some cases. So lifestyle is important, but the question is how intensive this intervention needs to be. What's the optimal dose? In the finger trial, we could show that those persons who did at least 50% of the intervention, at least half of the intervention, got the clear benefit. So clearly more long-term commitment is needed, and supporting adherence, that people are really following the advice even longer term, is of course important in the new trials and in the implementation. So after we published the finger trial in the Lancet 2015, there has been great interest from many countries globally to test, optimize and adopt this type of multi-domain model in different populations and in different cultures and settings. And we launched the Worldwide Fingers Network 2017 to support these activities. We also aim to harmonize the research methods, all the 5 fingers and the outcome measures, so that it's easier to compare the results. And we want to share experiences, data, and our learning, so that we can implement more quickly what is the best way to prevent cognitive impairment and dementia. And I'm very happy that today we are having 45 plus countries who are part of the Worldwide Fingers Network from all continents, as you can see here. And from these studies, we already have 9 completed, many of those are supporting the finger findings. and 50 ongoing studies, and many of those are still in the planning phase. There are many nice studies in Asia, and I would especially like to highlight the super brain study in South Korea. And the learnings so far have been really, the goal is really not only to develop effective interventions, but also feasible and sustainable interventions so that they can fit to the society. Here you can see some intervention components from Japan, we have from China, we have MindAD in 4 European countries, we have here Spain, here we have Latin America, where they also introduced a bit more music and dance for the physical activity. So indeed, we can learn from each other and what it writes. And when we are harmonizing, we are not only harmonizing the outcomes, but we also collect a lot of data, blood-based biomarkers, neuroimaging, so that we can learn more about the mechanisms and develop even better, even more effective interventions in the future. And as part of the work with fingers, we are upgrading Finger to Finger 2.0. Here we aim to combine this updated finger model with the pharmacological intervention to get even more effective and better outcomes. And here we have 2 examples. One is called MindAD, and then we have Finger. In MindAD, we targeted patients who already had early Alzheimer, prodromal Alzheimer, with some lifestyle and vascular risk factors. And it seemed that this model worked very well. The experience and feedback has been very good. And here I would say that the social component and adapting the intervention to the target population was especially important. So this is the lesson from this trial was that it's never too late. You can always do something with this type of finger intervention, even if you have already Alzheimer changes and some cognitive impairment. And the next step is really to try to combine a drug with the finger model. We are now starting a new trial called MedFinger, where we test diabetes medication, metformin, together with the lifestyle intervention. This is really the precision medicine approach when the right intervention is given for the right people at the right time. There are many links between diabetes and dementia, and we know that metformin is a widely used diabetes medication. It's affecting many of these key pathological features in Alzheimer's disease, for example, amyloid, tau, and inflammation. So we thought that this is a good candidate to add to the finger package to start. And this trial is starting soon, now during this autumn in 3 countries, UK, Sweden and Finland, 600 participants, and we aim to start with the finger package and add metformin in different doses to see if we can get extra benefit for that. So this is the first model for this type of combination therapy, and I'm very excited to follow this more. And finally, as part of the trials, we are using more and more new technology, which I believe may facilitate early detection, monitoring, and effective and feasible interventions and implementation. As an example, e-health and m-health tools, like the mobile apps where we can use the risk scores, or internet-based interventions for cognitive training and other type of activities. We have also developed and are working with the clinical decision support, putting together different clinical data that can help to know what can be the diagnosis. And indeed, here we are now developing further the concepts e-fingers, where we use e-health and m-health tools, and also